Here to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. In this video, we're going to be doing a deep dive into Bitcoin, Ethereum, the total crypto market cap, and what are some of the key observations we're making based off of trend lines, moving averages, and Bitcoin dominance analysis. So looking at the Bitcoin daily chart here, we have made an epic call since a couple weeks ago when we went net short BTC. So obviously I posted a video on YouTube and we shorted Bitcoin off of the 122,000 level. Full disclosure, I'm still looking to press this short a little bit lower, although we've hit some near-term TP price targets. And if we were to retest that area, I'd likely take a little bit of profit because I am shorting it with a US equity, the BITI. Nevertheless, Bitcoin is hitting some near-term support. Is this support going to hold? That is the big question. Let's kind of dive into why we're bouncing here. You're testing your previous value area high from May. This is your first main pivot that saw rejection. Accompanying that pivot, you do have a key moving average. You're back testing the 50-day moving average here in purple. So there is a decent amount of support in the near term, but I still think there is a bit of a chance that we can break this area and sweep a little bit more bullish liquidity, getting people to exit their longs and look for a little bit more people to press their short, kind of chasing this little bit of a dive in the crypto market cap and Bitcoin a little bit lower. Now, I do have some lower boundary targets. First things first is I want to show you this interesting key moving average observation. One thing that I've observed over my career of trading is markets often like to move in symmetry. So what do I mean by that? Symmetrical moves often happen in a variety of different asset classes, stocks. And when you look at what I'm discussing here, we went long off of the daily 20 moving average here in blue, right back here on this candle. That's where you had your last major bullish backtest, and you had this epic massive breakout to new all-time highs. So if we take right from this backtest 20-day moving average to this high pivot here on Bitcoin, that was roughly a 16.5% move to the upside. Now, if the markets move in a symmetrical based pattern, often they like to negate the bullish moves with a very similar symmetrical bearish move. So if we were to complete a bearish move to the downside that would mimic this move, you would roughly have to extrapolate a 16.5% downward move here, which would take you to roughly about 98,000 on Bitcoin, kind of aligned with this pivot. Now the question is, can we get there? There is a chance we can get there. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that this symmetrical move is going to happen, but it's just a key little nuanced strategy that I want to put on your radar that you can also use and just keep on watch and monitor. Flipping to some a little bit of moving average analysis, okay? I am going to actually flip to this Bitcoin USD chart since it's a little bit cleaner. I have less trend lines, target prices on, so we can look at it with a little bit of a clearer perspective. Flipping on the 50 and the 200 again, what I want to bring to your attention is the key difference in the 20 and the 50 moving average. The 50 is in a upsloping trend, that's clear as day. The 20-day moving average is slowly starting to curl over. Now, price action could retest the 20-day moving average, but one thing I want to caution you, if you get a bearish crossover where the 20 intersects with the 50-day moving average, you likely need to be looking to at least take profits, put stop losses in place, or exit those longs. Because if you get a bearish crossover of the 20 and the 50-day moving average in this little bit of a distribution cycle, typically bearish things do occur. The last time we got the bearish crossover of the 20 and the 50 was right over here. And look what ended up happening, about a 25% downside move. Similarly, once you get the bearish cross like you got over here, you often get a very, very big move to the upside. So you can use both key moving averages as a little bit of an indication as to what side of the market you should be positioning yourself on. It's not a perfect signal, but it's one that often yields high probability and returns. So now that we've discussed some key moving average observations, let's just quickly only put that 20-week moving average on, flip to the weekly chart, and I want to show you some interesting observations that I'm making across the previous Bitcoin bull market cycle and this bull market cycle. Now, there's a famous quote from Mark Twain, right, regarding history. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. We've all probably heard that, and I think this quote and this saying is going to be prudent to what I'm going to explain here. What I'm going to walk you through on this weekly chart of Bitcoin is analyzing two cycles. This is a bit of cycle analysis. One thing I want to show you first is we had this epic move in 2020 where Bitcoin exploded, riding the weekly 20 moving average here in blue with a very strong bullish uptrend. Then what happened? After some consolidation, you ended up absolutely knifing through the weekly 20 moving average. Take a look at this cycle here. A huge explosion move above the weekly 20 moving average, consolidation, and then knifing through the weekly moving average. Okay. Then what preceded was this little bit of bearish consolidation that ended up breaking to the high side, back testing the weekly 20 moving average. Bearish consolidation, breaking to the high side, back testing, never fully tested the weekly 20, but you back tested it, kissed it, and then what? Exploded to a new nominal all-time high, exploded to a new nominal all-time high. So the question is, are we going through a very similar potential phase in the market like we did back here? If we are, this put in a massive M-top formation that ended up having a pretty substantial move to the downside. You had a really sharp 73% fall, and then obviously more down to the lows here around 76%, which took some meaningful consolidation basing formation to break out to the high side. If we were to go through a similar correction in Bitcoin, I would absolutely love that because it would give such a generational buying opportunity in this crypto asset. Now, there's going to be a lot of crypto skeptics out there that call me absolutely crazy. But as a trader, as an investor, you always have to look at all of the outcomes. Am I going to be dollar cost averaging and waiting to buy off of a 77% dip? No, I'm likely going to have buying levels before that, but just recognize there's always an extreme case in both the bullish environment and the bearish environment. And right now, we just have to be mindful of a little bit of bearish price action because of the recent correction in stocks and equities and what the bond market is signaling to us. So just keep that in mind with some of those moving average analysis. If we look at the Ethereum chart, Ethereum has also gone through a bit of a correction. We did outline that 3,900 to 4,000 level that was discussed 2 weeks ago. What was the high in Ethereum that we just printed? $3,941. So if you listen to our previous video, excellent job shorting Ethereum. The question is, can Ethereum recapture the 20-day moving average in the near term? Now, looking at Ethereum, you can see how Ethereum is well off of its 50-day moving average, which is why I think we could actually see a little bit more correction in the overall crypto market cap. And there's an interesting chart that I'm going to show you with the total crypto market cap and Bitcoin dominance. So the total crypto market cap, first things first, we have triggered a beautiful inverse head and shoulders. And this is a textbook inverse head and shoulders pattern. It has a symmetrical left shoulder, a beautiful established rounding bottom head, and an even beautiful breakout right shoulder. So there is a bullish pattern at play here. We want to give it the benefit of the doubt. But often patterns like to retest back to that breakout zone, see if this bullish breakout liquidity can hold, and really test the bulls to see what they're made of. If this pattern holds this area, this 3.36 trillion zone, we do have higher price targets in mind, which I'm not going to get into. We'll save that for another day, but it's substantially higher based off of some calculations off of this inverse head and shoulders. That being said, I do think we can retest this area. Now, what's fascinating about the crypto industry is using Bitcoin dominance. So I have this Bitcoin dominance chart down here at the lows, and basically I've overlaid it with the total crypto market cap. So first things first with this Bitcoin dominance chart, I want to show you this interesting trend line that Bitcoin is kind of tagging right now. So Bitcoin dominance represents right now 62% of the market in crypto. It has in recent sessions taken a pretty decent dip. Now, the interesting thing about Bitcoin dominance, every time it dips, altcoins, you've heard it, altcoins absolutely rip to the upside and go in their epic bull market rally. That's what we've seen. We've seen mass participation from Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Chainlink, Uniswap. All of these other coins have been running, and that's why you're seeing them established from their 50-day moving average. They're trading well off of their 50-day moving averages compared to Bitcoin. So the question is, when Bitcoin dominance starts to bounce, what happens? Typically, when Bitcoin dominance starts to bounce, these altcoins actually go through a bit of distributions and selling off period. They see some weakness. And when Bitcoin dominance actually rises, typically you see the total crypto market cap go through a little bit of a decline. So that is a little bit of a nuance that I just want to bring to your attention because it's certainly one that can be traded with highly probable technical signals. Now, looking at the coin market cap here, overall, the total crypto market cap is trading pretty elevated here. Bitcoin dominance around that 62.2%. It's slightly lower, actually. It's around 61.4%. But what we can observe here is I'm just going to take you through some of these coins. Look at the size of Bitcoin, right? 2.27 trillion deep right now market cap. Ethereum, the next biggest coin, 420 billion. The sheer size difference is something to behold. Then you have XRP trading at 172 billion. You have BNB at 104 billion. You have Solana at 87.1 billion. USDC 64.1. Tron, TORN, trading at 30.8. Doge still at 29.9. Miraculously, Dogecoin is still holding up. Cardano, 25.7. Those are your top 10. You also have Hyperliquid trying to make a move and reestablish itself inside the top 10. So interestingly enough, there have been some newer coins in recent session breaking into the top 20. But right now, you still have an environment where altcoins are trying to rally. But as the Bitcoin dominance starts to float up and grind, as seen by that trend line that I briefly had on the chart, you're going to see Bitcoin likely try to stage a bounce off of this key trendline area. This is a trend line going all the way back, and let me just bring it up here so we can see it clearly. This trend line goes all the way back to 2022, connecting through a pivot in 2024, and right now you're bouncing off that area. So just understand as Bitcoin dominance goes up, yes, Bitcoin might hold a little bit more relative strength off of this key 50-day moving average, but other crypto assets and altcoins could show a little bit more distribution and likely pull the entire crypto market cap through some additional wave of selling. Please give this video a like down below, and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later.